I woke up this morning with a hankering for some white chocolate strawberry sourdough. I didn't have a recipe, so I made it up as I went. Come with me and watch me how I did it. Welcome back to another episode of Jess's Kitchen. Honestly, I don't know what the heck I call this channel. I got a lot of names for it, but anyway. So today, I am going to attempt a new recipe, and you are going to come with me on this journey. We're going to try a strawberry white chocolate sourdough. I have never made this recipe before, but I do have strawberry powder that I am dying to try. And this is just freeze-dried strawberries that I pulverized in my little magic bullet thing. So we're going to try it. We're going to start with 125 grams of active starter. Now, just to preface this, I made this recipe up just now. And I wrote it down, and I'm like, okay, we're going to attempt this, and we're going to see how it turns out, and if there is any tweaks that we need to make. So first thing we're going to do is 125 grams of active starter. Okay, next we're going to do 300, and I put 350. I think I'm going to reduce that a little bit because I did more starter. So we're going to do 325 grams of warm water. Okay, now we're going to mix this together first. Okay, next we're going to do 5 grams of vanilla. Okay, 25 grams of sugar. I'm not a super big fan of sugar, especially in my sourdough, but I'm trying to make this just a little bit sweeter. So I'm only going to do a small amount of sugar, and I'm going to use the pure sugar cane, not like the regular white granulated, just because sugar isn't great for you anyway, but the white granulated sugar is really not good for you. Okay. So I'm going to measure this out. I don't know how much 25 grams is. It seems like a lot, so I may not even put that much. I just kind of, like I said, I made this recipe up. We're just going to go with it. Yeah, everything in my hand was 8 grams. I think I'm just going to cut back to 10. I don't want it super sweet. And we have vanilla in there too, so we're just going to do that. Okay, next we're going to do the strawberry powder. 25 grams of this. I'm going to scoop this out because it does stain. Ooh, almost messed up. Let's try that again. Okay, 25 grams. We're going to mix this. Ooh, I already smell the strawberries. That's amazing. We're going to mix this in. I've seen some people who've made strawberry bread with strawberry milk, which is also a great idea, but I really wanted to try this powder out. Okay, so now we're going to do our flour and salt. I'm going to do the same normal amount of bread flour as normal. I'm going to do 500 grams. I did a perfect pour. Oh my gosh, 500 grams on the dot. Good thing I'm documenting this because no one would believe me. Okay, now we're going to do our normal 10 grams. I am today using sea salt because I feel like this bread really needs sea salt. All right, perfect. Okay, we're going to mix this up. My hope too, and it looks like I might get my wish, my hope is that I have pink colored bread because of the strawberry powder. We will see. I do plan on, I just made a mess. I do plan on making or adding white chocolate chips, but I won't add those until stretch and fold. So stay tuned for that. Do have a nice strawberry smell. I like that. Strawberries are one of my favorite flavors. Okay, so I did end up adding more strawberry powder because I really wanted it to be more pink. So I went ahead and put 50 grams instead of 25. It definitely has a strawberry smell, which is really what I was kind of going for. So I would do 125 grams of active starter, 350 grams of water, the 5 grams of vanilla, and then what did I do with sugar? Did I do 10 grams? I think I just did the 10 grams of the raw pure cane sugar, 50 grams of strawberry flour, 500 grams of bread flour, and 10 grams of sea salt. Now we're at shaggy dough stage. We're gonna let this sit for an hour and then we will come back and start our stretch and folds. Okay, it's time for our first set of stretch and folds. So we are going to just do a normal set for this first one, for this first round. This is our regular set of stretch and folds. We're going to do one more regular set of stretch and folds. On the third round is when we're going to start adding in the white chocolate chips. And we'll do that on round 3 and round 4 just to make sure we have enough and to make sure that it's all nice and incorporated evenly in the dough. So we're done with our first set of stretch and folds. I will be back in 30 minutes. Okay, stretch and folds round 2. Oh, it smells so good. Super strawberry. Be back for round 3. All right, it is time for round 3. So now we are gonna add some white chocolate chips. Ooh. We're just gonna kind of throw them in here. I'm also going to add some freeze-dried strawberries, which I'll probably do now. Okay, and then we're gonna just start stretching and folding this in. It's a little messy. Just kind of have to force it a little bit. I've never done freeze-dried fruit in bread before, so this will be an interesting loaf for sure. But how do we know if it's good if we don't try, right? So on our next set of stretch and folds, which will be our final one, I probably won't add any more freeze-dried strawberries. I think that one package was enough, but I will probably add a little bit more of the white chocolate. So we will do that on round 4. So this looks pretty good here. I'm gonna kind of flip this over. And we will be back for round 4. Our final round of stretch and folds, and we'll see how this looks in 30 minutes. I may or may not add any more chips. We'll just kind of see. All right, we are at our last stretch and fold, and I think I might add a little bit of the chocolate chips, but we're not gonna do a whole lot. So I'm probably just gonna do maybe a handful. I'm just gonna kind of stretch and fold again. I'm gonna grab a handle on this. All right. Actually, I'm gonna stop there. I don't want to overwork the dough. I feel like I've worked this dough a lot because I'm trying to add things in it, and then I added that extra powder in the beginning. So it's pretty stiff. I mean, that's the point of the stretch and fold, is if it's really elastic, we're trying to tighten it up. So it feels pretty tight. I mean, it doesn't stretch much. So I did one quick round around the bowl, but I really think that I'm gonna stop there. So we're gonna go ahead and just start the bulk proof process now. Got my Cambro. We're gonna put this in here. Now, because of all the added stuff in this dough, it is definitely filling up this container more than if it was just a plain sourdough loaf. We're gonna check the temp here. The texture of this dough is stickier, closer to like my chocolate sourdough loaf. So I'm getting a temp of 70.2. So again, that's my average. So we're gonna go for about 75%. I'm curious though, because when I do the chocolate sourdough loaf, I usually let it double. So I'm gonna check it at 75%, but we may just let this thing go double, just like we would a chocolate loaf. This may be very similar too. So we're just gonna kind of gauge that. So I'm gonna start at 75% and then just see if we need to bulk proof a little bit longer. All right, well, I let this bulk ferment for 5 hours. I went a little longer than I expected to, but it's because when I checked on it earlier, it just felt like it needed to go a little longer. So here we are. I decided to just set a timer for another hour and come check on it. So like I said before, I do not bulk ferment by time. I bulk ferment by rise, but it did take 5 hours to get to this point. So we can see we got really nice bubbling here on the sides. Got a nice jiggle. If we wet our fingers, we can get a nice poke test. It is coming back very, very slowly, which is what you want. So we are doing good there. So we're gonna go ahead and take this out. We're gonna shape it. I may only do one shape. It depends on how things shape with the chocolate chips. When you have a bulkier inclusion, probably not a good idea to overshape, because then you just risk ripping the dough and the contents falling out. So we're just gonna kind of see whether or not I'm gonna do a pre-shape and a shape, or I'm just gonna straight up shape it and then put it in the banneton. So let's pull it away from the bowl. So we are going to, oh, another thing I wanted to mention, I do not flour my surface. I know a lot of people do flour their surface lightly, but I do not do that because I want the tension when it comes to shaping. I want the tension from the countertop. So I don't apply flour because flour puts that barrier between the countertop and the dough, and it won't shape very well. It's harder to shape because it gets to be a little bit slick. And I want it to be a little stickier, because as you shape it and you pull that tension, it will resist the countertop instead of just sliding with it. So you can flour if you want, you can wet your surface, whatever you prefer. I don't like to do that, and that is why. So I am gonna wet my hands just a tad, because this dough is a little bit sticky. That's just gonna help it to not stick to my fingers. All right, we're just gonna kind of stretch it out here, just very carefully and very gently. Cross it over. Just going to start our shaping. And as we shape, things will get a little bit less crazy and messy. These chocolate chips do not want to stay on the dough though. It smells delicious. I can smell the strawberries. It's not shaping too badly. I think I am going to just do this one shape though, and leave it at that. Just gonna make sure it's nice and tight. Everything is pulled together. For this dough, I am gonna go ahead and do a round shape. Last time I did the oval or the batard shape. This time I'm gonna stick with the round bowl. That seems pretty good. It seems actually very well put together. So I think it's going to bake up nice. The question is, how is it going to taste? We'll find that out soon. Okay, I'm going to flour the top of this just a little bit because just like my chocolate dough, it does get a little bit, it's a little sticky. So we're just going to lightly flour the tops here. And then we're just going to flip it right into the banneton. Okay. All right. Flour the bottom, because this is actually the bottom. It's upside down. I'm going to flour it just a little bit. And again, if you well season your banneton, then nothing sticks. You can see it's just kind of flopping around in there. Just make sure you season your bannetons. You don't have to use the liner. And if you do it right, then things won't stick. All right, so this is going to go in the fridge. I'm going to put it in the fridge for about 1 hour. We're just going to let the dough firm up some so that way I can score it. We're going to bake it here in just a little while and take a look and see how it turns out. All right, I'm not going to do anything super special on this score because it's hard to score with bulky inclusions. Just going to make kind of a standard across the top here. Okay. Let's get it in the oven. Okay, we're going to put this in the oven, 450 for about 6 minutes, and we'll do our second score. Okay, I'm going to put this back in for, we're going to bake this for another 30 minutes, then we will check on it. Here we go, fresh out of the oven. It looks good. It's got a little bit of moisture in there, but I think a lot of it has to do with the chocolate chips. So we are going to use my heat-resistant gloves I bought that are gigantic, but this will work. Able to pick this up. It looks good. We're going to let this sit and set up, and then we will cut into it and see how it looks. All right, here is our bread. There everything looks. Bottom got a nice crunchy sound. We're going to slice this baby open and see how it looks on the inside. All right, let's take a look. We got a little pink flavor in there, pink color. Nice and spongy, that's good. It's looking really nice. So, it did keep pink. I'm really happy about that. And it smells delicious. So now we just gotta slice it and try it. All right, here we go. That is so good. It's sweet, but not too sweet. There's a flavor of strawberry. It's not overpowering though. And then you hit that white chocolate. Yeah, we have a winner. So definitely write that recipe down. So just as to reiterate the baking times that I did. So I put it in the oven at 450. I baked it for 6 minutes so I could do my second score. And that was just to kind of help these areas here to really kind of pop up more and not kind of sink into the bread. So I just scored along the edges to kind of just help this lift some. That's the only reason why I do the second score. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. But I put it back in the oven with the lid on. I ended up baking it total time 45 minutes with the lid on. And then I took the lid off. I was temping at that point probably around 200 degrees. Then I took the lid off and I baked it for another 10 minutes with the lid off. I did not want to bake it too long with the lid off and it start to char the top, but it definitely needed to hit 210 because there is definitely more moisture in this bread. You can tell definitely, especially where the white chocolates are, white chocolate pieces. So I wanted it to for sure hit 210. 210 is my number anyway, but you can actually go between 205 and 210. I like 210 just to be sure that I don't get any gummy bread. So you can tell it is good all the way through. There is no gummy areas when you slice it open, and the flavor is just perfect. So if you like strawberry white chocolate, this is definitely the sourdough for you. Tune in next time when I decide what we're going to bake. I don't know yet. It's just kind of a random thing. So if you have anything specific that you would like, drop it down in the comments and I'll see what I can do to make that happen. See you next time.